Greetings, history enthusiasts. Welcome to another compelling episode on the HIST-A.I channel. Today, we delve into a pivotal moment that sent shockwaves through the annals of history, the infamous Sack of Rome. Join me as we unravel the intricate details, exploring the events leading up to this dramatic episode, its far-reaching consequences, and the profound impact it had on the course of history. Rome, the eternal city, was not always so invincible. To understand the Sack of Rome, we must first delve into the early 16th century Europe's complex political and religious landscape. Europe in the early 16th century was a tapestry of rivalries and alliances, a convoluted maze of political and religious tensions. The continent was a chessboard, with its kingdoms and empires as pieces, each vying for power and dominance. The Vatican, the heart of the Catholic world, was not immune to this Game of Thrones. Popes, far from being just spiritual leaders, were influential political figures, often entangled in the power plays of the day. Now, imagine this intricate web against the backdrop of the Renaissance, a period of profound intellectual and cultural upheaval. This was a time when the humanistic ideals of ancient Greece and Rome were being rediscovered and were challenging the medieval worldview. Religious conflict was another thread woven into this complex tapestry. The Catholic Church, which had held spiritual sway over Europe for centuries, was starting to face opposition. The seeds of the Protestant Reformation were being sown, and soon, they would grow into a movement that would shake the very foundations of the Church. In the midst of this was the Holy Roman Empire, a multi-ethnic complex of territories in Western and Central Europe. The empire was a major player in the political and religious dynamics of the time. Its relationship with other European powers, particularly with France and the Papal States, was fraught with tension and rivalry. This was the world that set the stage for the Sack of Rome, a world where power was pursued relentlessly, where diplomacy could quickly devolve into conflict, and where religious belief and political ambition were often two sides of the same coin. These brewing tensions and conflicts were about to explode onto the stage of history, leading to one of the most dramatic episodes, the Sack of Rome. Enter Charles V, the man who would play a central role in this historic drama. His ascendancy to the throne of the Holy Roman Empire was a key factor leading up to the Sack of Rome. Born in the early 16th century, Charles V was no ordinary monarch. He was a man of ambition and vision, destined for greatness from a young age. Charles's journey to power was a blend of strategic alliances, shrewd political maneuvering, and a dash of good fortune. He was born into the powerful Habsburg dynasty, a family that had its fingers in many European pies. When he was just 19, he was elected as the Holy Roman Emperor, a position that gave him control over vast territories across Europe and the Americas. Charles V's reign was marked by a complex network of relationships with other European powers. His diplomatic engagements were a delicate balancing act, one that required both tact and tenacity. His rule was a time of shifting alliances and simmering tensions as he sought to navigate the treacherous waters of 16th century European politics. While Charles V was consolidating his power, Europe was in the throes of profound change. The Protestant Reformation was challenging traditional religious hierarchies, and the political landscape was becoming increasingly volatile. These geopolitical factors were like a tinderbox, ready to ignite at the slightest spark. Charles V's rule was not without its challenges. He had to contend with the rise of Protestantism, the threat of the Ottoman Empire, and the ever-present tension with France. His policies and actions, driven by a desire to maintain Catholic unity and expand his empire, would ultimately lead to a sequence of events culminating in the Sack of Rome. As Charles V consolidated his power, the stage was set for a conflict that would shake Rome to its core. The intricate web of political and religious tensions was at a breaking point, setting the stage for one of history's most dramatic episodes. But that, my friends, is a story for the next chapter. The ongoing Italian wars provided the perfect backdrop for the siege of Rome in 1527. This was a period of intense conflict, peppered with shifting alliances and power struggles that swept across the Italian peninsula. The wars had begun in the late 15th century, fueled by a desire for territorial control and political dominance among Europe's major powers. The stage for the Siege of Rome was set by a series of specific events. The Spanish-born Holy Roman Emperor, Charles V, a key player in the Italian Wars, was embroiled in a power struggle with France's Francis I. The Papal States, under Pope Clement VII, were caught in the middle, trying to maintain a delicate balance of power. Charles V's forces, a motley crew of Spanish, German, and Italian soldiers, were led by the Duke of Bourbon. They were not the most disciplined bunch, often unpaid and left to live off the land. Their strategy was straightforward: capture Rome and use it as a bargaining chip against the Pope. However, their approach was brutal, employing a scorched earth policy that left a trail of devastation in their path. The religious tensions of the time added another layer of complexity to the conflict. The Protestant Reformation was in full swing, challenging the authority of the Catholic Church. Charles V, a staunch Catholic, was caught between his religious convictions and his political ambitions. His forces, on the other hand, included many disillusioned Lutherans who saw the siege as a chance to strike a blow against the papacy. As the year 1527 dawned, Rome, the Eternal City, found itself in the eye of the storm. It was a city on the brink, surrounded by powerful forces and teetering on the edge of chaos. The Pope's attempts to navigate these treacherous waters were about to be severely tested. The stage was set, the players were ready, and Rome was about to experience a day of reckoning. This was the eve of the Siege of Rome, a critical moment that would forever change the course of history. May 6, 1527, a day that would go down in infamy as the sack of Rome unfolded. As dawn broke on this fateful day, an eerie silence fell over Rome. The city, once bustling with life, was about to witness a storm of unprecedented magnitude. On the outskirts, the imperial troops of Charles V, a motley crew of Spaniards, Germans, and Italians, stood ready, their eyes fixed on the city's imposing walls. In the heart of Rome, the citizens awoke, oblivious to the impending chaos. The city was a vivid tapestry of human life, traders haggling in the markets, priests praying in the grand basilicas, and nobles discussing politics in their opulent palaces. Little did they know that their world was about to be turned upside down. As the first rays of the sun hit the city, the troops charged. The city's defenses, despite their best efforts, were overwhelmed. The sack had begun. Soldiers swarmed through the streets, their only objective: plunder. Rome, the Eternal City, was in the grip of chaos. The experiences of those caught in this maelstrom were as varied as they were tragic. Soldiers, driven by avarice and anger, pillaged indiscriminately. Civilians, caught in the crossfire, faced unimaginable horrors. Key figures, including Pope Clement VII, witnessed their world crumble before their eyes. The destruction was widespread and horrifying. Rome, a beacon of civilization and culture, was reduced to a smoldering ruin. The human cost was staggering. Thousands perished, countless others were displaced, and an entire city was traumatized. But amidst the destruction, stories of courage and resilience emerged. Ordinary citizens became heroes, risking their lives to save their fellow Romans. Their actions, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity, provided a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak scenario. The Eternal City had fallen. The sack of Rome was a reality, and its aftermath would reverberate through the halls of history. The sack of Rome was not just a single event. Its shockwaves were felt far and wide, profoundly influencing the politics and religion of Europe. As the dust settled on a ravaged Rome, the immediate aftermath was one of chaos and uncertainty. The once majestic city lay in ruins, its streets echoing with the cries of its citizens. But the impact of the sack extended far beyond Rome's city walls. The political landscape of Europe was about to be dramatically reshaped. In the wake of the sack, the balance of power among the major European nations was destabilized. The Holy Roman Empire, under Charles V, had demonstrated its military might, instilling fear and respect in its rivals. This led to a seismic shift in diplomatic relations, with nations reassessing their alliances and strategies. The sack had shown, in no uncertain terms, the destructive power of unchecked ambition and military dominance. But the ripples of the sack were not confined to political corridors. It had a profound cultural impact too. The destruction of Rome, a city renowned for its rich history and artistic treasures, signified a brutal end to the Italian Renaissance. The flourishing culture of art, literature, and thought that had once charmed Europe was now overshadowed by the stark reality of war and devastation. The sack served as a dark reminder of the fragility of cultural heritage in the face of conflict. Perhaps the most profound consequence of the sack was the reshaping of religious dynamics. The Pope, once deemed invincible, had been humiliated and held captive. The prestige and authority of the papacy suffered a significant blow. This event played a pivotal role in the spread of Protestantism, as the Church's image was tarnished and its moral authority questioned. The sack of Rome had inadvertently paved the way for one of the most significant religious transformations in history, the Protestant Reformation. As we look back, it's clear that the sack of Rome was more than just a military conquest. It was a turning point that altered the course of history. It signaled a shift from the era of the Renaissance to a period of religious upheaval and political realignment. It shook the foundations of the Church and shattered the illusion of papal invincibility. It transformed the political landscape of Europe, prompting nations to rethink their alliances and strategies. The sack of Rome had forever changed the face of Europe, leaving a lasting impact on its geopolitical landscape. The echoes of this momentous event can be heard even today, reminding us of a time when a single event could reshape the contours of history. It serves as a testament to the power of historical events to shape our world, influencing not just the politics and religion of a single era, but the course of human civilization itself. The echoes of the sack of Rome still resonate today. Its legacy is indelibly imprinted on the history of Europe. This monumental event, with its catastrophic consequences, left behind lessons that have shaped and continue to influence the geopolitical landscape of our world. The sack of Rome, while a tragedy in its own right, served as a stark wake-up call to the major powers of Europe. It underscored the urgent need for effective military strategies and political alliances. In the aftermath, we see a shift towards more sophisticated military tactics and an emphasis on strong, strategic alliances. The event demonstrated the devastating potential of unchecked power and the profound impact of military might, forever changing the approach to warfare in Europe. Beyond the battlefield, the sack of Rome had a profound influence on international diplomacy. The event highlighted the fragility of independent city-states and the vulnerability of a divided Europe. In response, there was a concerted effort towards consolidation and centralization of power. Political leaders recognized the necessity of uniting under a common cause, laying the groundwork for the concept of nation-states as we know them today. The sack also had significant cultural implications. It marked the end of the High Renaissance in Rome, a period of great artistic and intellectual growth. The destruction and pillaging of Rome led to a dispersal of artists and intellectuals, spreading Renaissance ideas across Europe. This period of cultural diffusion, often referred to as the Renaissance diaspora, played a crucial role in the broader European Renaissance. However, perhaps the most enduring legacy of the sack of Rome is the lessons it imparts. It stands as a stark reminder of the perils of unchecked ambition, the devastation of war, and the importance of unity in the face of adversity. As we look back on this pivotal moment in history, we are reminded of the profound ways in which past events continue to shape our present and future. The sack of Rome, a turning point in history, left a legacy that continues to shape the world we live in today. As we conclude our journey through the tumultuous events surrounding the sack of Rome, we are reminded of the profound impact of this single event on the course of history. It's a stark testament to the interconnectedness of political, religious, and military narratives and how they shape our world, past and present. We began with the prelude to chaos as Europe in the early 16th century grappled with complex diplomatic tensions, power struggles, and religious conflicts. The rise of Charles V to the throne of the Holy Roman Empire provided further fuel to the fire, with intricate geopolitical factors intensifying these struggles. The Italian Wars, with their intricate web of alliances and conflicts, set the stage for the Siege of Rome in 1527. The military strategies, political intricacies, and religious tensions of the time culminated in a day of chaos and destruction as Rome fell. On that fateful day in May, the experiences of soldiers, civilians, and key figures were forever etched into the annals of history. The pillaging, destruction, and the human cost bore witness to the dark side of power and conquest. In the aftermath, the diplomatic fallout and cultural ramifications were massive, reshaping religious dynamics and political landscapes across the continent. The sack of Rome echoed through the corridors of time, forever altering the course of Europe. And there you have it, a profound exploration of the sack of Rome, a turning point in history that forever altered the course of Europe. If you found this detailed journey through the tumultuous events enlightening, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell notification to stay updated on our historical narratives here on the HIST-A.I RY channel. Thank you for joining us on this extensive historical odyssey. Until next time, signing off.